Hey everyone, I'm Matt Harty, National Channel Manager with CNSG and AppSmart Company, and welcome to ProviderSMART. Joining me today, I've got Chris Whitaker of Sierra Wireless. Chris, hope you're doing well, and thanks for joining the show.
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Great, yeah, glad to have you. And so today we're going to be talking about, Sierra's 4G platform, how you deliver wireless solutions to your partners and clients, and how and when to bring Sierra as the right solution to the table. But before we get into that, if you could just kind of share with us a little bit about your background and what brought you to Sierra, that'd be great.
Man, so where to begin? When you've been doing this for 20 plus years, not only does it make you sound very old, but there's a lot to talk about. So I'll try to keep it short. Probably the most important thing I think, as far as my background that I'm excited to share and I'm kind of proud of, is my time in the Army, right? So I spent my last duty station was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with the 82nd Airborne Division. Great people there. Had a great time. So what I didn't know at the time was that experience is giving me a lot of great storytelling with Sierra, and I'll get to how I got to Sierra in a minute, but because I'm at Sierra, I use the analogy a lot. Jumping out of an airplane, it was a couple of things you really wanted to be sure of. One, the parachute you were wearing was going to work, and whoever packed it knew what they were doing. And then you have a reserve parachute on your chest. And you also want to make sure if for some reason that primary failed, your backup was going to work. And you also want to make sure whoever packed that reserve parachute knew what they were doing. They were experts. So that's kind of how I tell people why Sierra is different and why we're unique compared to so many of our competitors, is that we are experts. We make our equipment. We make the chipsets, the software. We're not reselling someone else's gear. When there's a problem with it, we don't have to open a ticket with somebody else. We just call our own engineering department and we get it fixed. So that's why it's interesting how you can pull from your past to have a story in the present. So yes, 10 years in the Army, I got out. And at the time, I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I was an infantry guy, so I didn't really want to go. I was tired of kicking down doors and shooting stuff and blowing stuff up. And my wife was pregnant with our third child, and I knew I wanted to come home and be a part of the American dream. And my brother-in-law said, Chris, Cox Communications, they're hiring door-to-door salespeople to go sell this new thing called high-speed internet. Well, that really makes me sound old. So I was like, hey, I can do that. I love talking to people, So I did that, and that was it was called Roadrunner, if anybody would remember. This is like 98, so wow, a long time ago. And had a great time doing it. So I kind of realized I had this fascination with technology and the internet and computers. I just kind of became a secret, techie. And fast forward, I realized I brought me into, Comcast Business Services, 15-year journey got me to Comcast Business Services. I was one of the first channel managers at Comcast. I was very honored and pleased to work with Craig Schlegbaum and Barry Williams and Michael Zadowski. Michael's now in a different role. I had a great time and learned so much about channel sales from that experience. And then, as fate would have it, I just had a recruiter call me one time, and this was in 2016, and say, Chris, I've been looking for a candidate like you. This is a kind of this big company called Sierra just bought another company called Excel Networks, and they're looking for someone to come in and kind of help get the channel program off the ground. They already had a small program, but it just really wasn't where they wanted it. And at the time, I'm a channel manager, so I'm going, gosh, how many times does an opportunity like this present itself to go from being just a regional channel manager with a couple of states that I had influence over to being a channel leader to help build a program, and I jumped on it, as you can see, and went from being a 17-year cable guy to the last 4 or so years becoming a wireless guy. And believe it or not, they really obviously complement each other. So just very lucky to be here today. Today my role is strictly strategy for the services group. Sierra also has a very successful and much more mature hardware channel that's led by a different leadership team. So today, myself and my channel team, we're part of services group, and that's why we're happy to be here with you today and talking about the services and the solutions and the problems we can help our partners solve.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for your service to our country, and then also thank you for that background. And I think that was a heck of an analogy. You're talking about failover and backup. You need it to work, right? And you will only know when it comes online, when you need it, if it will be successful for you. So that's great background. I love that analogy. And let's just kind of get into some of the Sierra's platform and how it works, and talk about use cases and kind of how the platform was developed, and who do you have in mind from a customer standpoint and use standpoint? If you talk about that, that'd be great.
Yes. So, I always, when you have these kind of conversations, I know a lot of vendors and a lot of my counterparts, it's just so easy to get into talking about speeds and feeds and how great we are, whatever. But I always try to remember what problems are partners trying to solve. I mean, that's really, when it comes down to it, it's not how fancy your logo is and what your price point is can you solve the problem? Is it efficient and effective? So at Sierra, with our managed connectivity solution, really is our flagship offering through this partnership. One thing I've learned, it's especially now more than ever, internet is king, connectivity is king. I don't care how great your cloud strategy is or what SD-WAN device you have. If you have no internet, it's all just expensive paperweight. So that's kind of obvious, right? But I'm finding more and more what attracted me to even come to Sierra is I kind of saw, I said, man, wireless is going to be the thing. I mean, we all have our smartphones, which is almost becoming all you need. I mean, who needs a laptop anymore? Wireless connectivity is critical. And then you look at outages. Having been a 17-year cable guy, I know landlines get cut, they go down, they have outages. And most cell towers have multiple carriers coming in, multiple fiber feeds coming in from diverse directions, and they have battery backup. And so that last mile, which is most problematic for terrestrial landline offers, it's wireless. So I'm like, man, there's got to be something here. So that's our target partners, one that gets that, they understand that. And of course, the target end user customer is pretty broad. I mean, we do a lot in the retail space because so much of it, has been, even more so now, is cloud-based. Point of sale credit card machines are on the internet. Inventory management systems are in the cloud. Online ordering, if you order online and that order never makes it to the store or to the distribution center, that's a problem. So, those are some things that I always try to encourage my partners to think about. It's like, hey, the obvious is everybody needs internet, but let's understand what happens when they don't have internet. What's the real pain? Oh, it's not that big a deal. Oh, really? You have 4 employees sitting there, you're paying hourly, they can't do their job, and it's a 4 or 5 hour outage. There's a cost there. Oh, yeah, voice over IP. Phone's not working. How do you know you're not missing a call from that customer that needs to place a $1,000 order? You just don't know unless it, of course, goes in the cloud and maybe they leave a message or something. But the phone's not ringing is the point. You're not getting it real time. You're not having a conversation. So those are the things that we try to encourage our partners to think about.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that cost of downtime can be so detrimental to some customers. And I think when our partners are identifying opportunities for Sierra, there's a play for temporary primary internet or full-time primary internet via wireless 4G LTE. A lot of times people use your solution for secondary or even tertiary with SD-WAN deployments. I know you offer both. Can you kind of talk about what the difference is in data plans and functionality and how customers are applying them? You mentioned point of sales and some other examples, but if you could expand on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to announce, this is kind of new, unlimited offerings. It's not new to the industry. It's been around for a while, but now we're providing it. We have as low as $142, a bundled that includes the equipment and the gateway and the professional services and the support. And you can add an advanced antenna to that for it'd be $144. As great as that sounds, I always try to caution people too. I try to be balanced in our messaging, right? Unlimited is not for everybody. regardless of where you go, the reality is the only way the carriers can kind of control and manage their networks is to have, certain limits. Today, it's called unlimited, but I really rather call it overage free. So there is a limit on everybody's offer from the carriers because the carriers mandate it. Because again, there's only so much consumption that they can support on one tower, so they have to have some kind of control on it.
Right.
Plus, it goes down to the use case. Is like, how are you using it? Now, if it's just for pure backup, and in a backup failover situation, they could use less than 50 gigs. Our 142 plan, perfect. That's all they're going to pay is 142. But once you hit that 50 gig threshold, it gets throttled. Okay. So we realized, what if you need more than 50 gigs? Maybe it's a construction trailer that's going to use 75 to 100 gigs. We have a plan for them. So we have 4 levels of our unlimited, a 50 gig threshold, a 75 gig, and that's consumption, data consumption gig, 125 gig, and then a 175 gig. So these are all big plans. And I can tell you, most outage situations, we have over 10 years of data to prove this. Most customers that use it for backup, when they have an outage with their landline, it's generally 5 to 10 gigs is what they would use in that. Mean time to repair with most cable companies is 4 hours. That happens to be about the average outage would be that 4 hours. And then you got the storms that come through and knock down, 4 blocks of fiber, and it may be a week long outage. One thing I like about the way we handle our metered plans is you could do mid-cycle or mid-term changes. So the customer contracts for a 2 gig data plan. A month, a year later, unfortunately, something bad happens with the weather and it, knocks out the whole city block, and they have to rebuild it because of the hurricane. They can call us and say, hey, I need to go up to 50 gigs, or I need you to ship me a unlimited gig, unlimited data plan device. So it is a different SIM card, by the way. So AT&T, the way they manage it, it's actually a different SIM card. So a customer can't just upgrade it to an unlimited. We have to send them a new SIM card for that upgrade. But obviously, most of our customers that are going to take advantages will get it from the jump, from the beginning. One other thing to add about the metered data plan. So again, there's 2 flavors. Metered, meaning you buy a data plan, and then once you go over it, it's $15 a gig. That's metered. And then the other plan that is going to be very popular with most people is the unlimited or overage free. But back to the metered side of the conversation, one thing we do as well that I think is pretty unique and a big benefit for the end user, if they have multiple locations, it's a flat rate. So they have multiple locations, maybe 10 of them are with AT&T, 10 with Verizon, and 10 with T-Mobile. So they got 30 sites. In some other models outside of us, you'll have 3 different bills, 3 different data pools. With us, it's 1 bill and it's 1 data pool. And if you have, say, a 2 gig data plan at all 30 sites, it's the same price for all 3 carriers. I've seen other quotes and other conversations where in that scenario, you have 3 different prices, 3 different bills, and 3 different data pools. Man, what a nightmare. And that's why people stay away from this to begin with. So we really try to take all the pain associated with rolling out a 4G LTE connectivity option or solution.
Perfect. Great. I'm glad you highlighted that. And talking about, the customer journey and from a deployment standpoint, I'm hoping you could kind of talk about how the Sierra delivers, your routers and your equipment and helps the customer install and get them up and running. Can you kind of highlight the customer journey and walk us through that?
Man, yeah, it's Friday. I'm kind of giddy already. I was going to say, no, I'd rather not. Can we just talk about something else? But of course, I would love to talk about that. So we drop ship the equipment to the location that needs to be in service. We actually have project managers that coordinate with the end user, our technicians, and our help desk. Okay, so again, going back to, it's a truly white glove experience. I mean, we have 2 flavors of our offering in general. Now, I mentioned the 2 different data plans, but there's actually 2 different ways you can get to that. One's premium and one is essential. The premium option we sell 85% of the time, and that's the one with the SLA, with the professional install, on-site support when needed. That's really, again, if you need the reserve parachute and you want the best, why are you going to buy the B rate, right? You're going to go with the A plus rated one. So we drop ship it, our technician shows up and we install it, and we actually put all 3 SIM cards in the box when we drop ship it, the 3 carriers. So we can make sure on day of install, when that guy leaves, it's got the best signal and the best speed, the best throughput. Nobody can tell you what a speed is or what carries the best in a building unless you're there. Okay, so all the tools will say, oh yeah, all 3 carriers are there. All 3 of them have 4 or 5 stars. But until you get in there, because buildings are made of different things. Some server rooms are in the middle of the building. Some server rooms may be in the basement where you have to do an external antenna, which we can do. If we can't make it work inside, we'll install at no extra cost an external antenna to get that signal from outside into the basement. So that's a big benefit to our partners and our end users.
Great. No, thank you for that. Absolutely.
I can keep going, but I have to control myself, right?
Well, it's great. I'm sure all the partners want to hear about it and be able to explain that basic process when their customers ask how is this going to work, and do we have resources and help to get us up and running. So I think that's great. And another thing I was going to ask you is, if you won't mind, if you could talk about a channel win, maybe a textbook win showcasing the Sierra Wireless solutions that you can bring to the table. I think that would be
yes. Yeah, this was fun because I was trying to look over which ones are most relevant. This was just kind of a fun one, and this has just been in the last 6 to 8 months. And it started over a year ago, but pizza delivery. Who would have thought? It's amazing. So you have all your big guys, and under NDAs, I won't announce them all, but yeah, your typical big carriers are your big pizza manufacturers and retail stores. You can order online. You can order on the app or on your computer. Again, it goes back to, if that order doesn't make it to the store, you don't get your pizza, you're upset. But one thing about pizza stores and pizza providers, they're mostly franchises, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of them. I mean, you could have a franchise store that has 1 or 2 stores, a franchise owner with 1 or 2 stores, or you may have a franchise owner that has a dozen or 100 stores. So talking to some of my peers in this space, some of my competitors or friends of mine, I feel like we're all benefiting from this, because there are a lot of pizza stores that deliver across the country. And we have a lot of them, and it seems like other people have a lot of them as well. So that's one. Most recently, we just keep, every week they're asking for more. Here's another franchise owner, he needs 5. This franchise owner, she needs 10. So something to think about. I mean, for the partners out there, where do you get your pizza? If you ever go pick it up or you drive by there, just pop in and say, hey, can I talk to the manager? Hey, what do you guys do for your failover? Do you have a backup connection? Oh, you don't? Well, gosh, is that something you handle, or is there someone else I can talk to? I think I could help you. It's a proven model. I mean, their lifeline, their parachute is the internet, because no one's really going in to get their pizzas anymore. They're all ordering them online.
Great. No, all this talk of pizza is getting me hungry. But no, that's incredibly powerful. Thinking from a business continuity standpoint, very cost-effective solution. Get that peace of mind with that backup, and then you don't lose out on business with that Sierra solution. So that's powerful. That's great. And then let's talk about marketing resources, some of the sales enablement tools that the Sierra and CNSG team has kind of put together to get to work and share that with our partner base. Can you talk about some of the marketing collateral and resources we have available to our partners?
Going back to my airborne analogy, they didn't just put me on the plane and say jump. Let's face it, gravity does all the work. I mean, in fact, the parachute even comes out on its own. I had to go through 3 weeks of school to learn how to do that. Well, I am now looking at my partner community, my partners, my friends, and saying, I can't just throw this out at you and say, go sell. We have to equip you. So I am really happy with my marketing team. We created something called Campaign in a Box. And we've done the SMART campaign with your marketing team. Definitely encourage the partners to go check that out. So not only do we have the tools, but we have very dedicated and competent channel managers that will help you and co-sell with you. So if you've never sold 4G or cellular services, that's okay. Just help us identify the opportunities. Our channel managers and our dedicated solution architects will come along beside you, will equip you with what you need. In fact, some cases, the partner just says, I'll make the introduction and I'll listen on the call if you guys can go from here and take point. And we do that all the time as well. So something we did yesterday, I had our monthly webinar for all of our partners, and I did a social media challenge. Said, hey, I challenge you for the first 4 partners that are on this call today, if you go and you take one of our social media posts out of our campaign in the box, and you take that and you make a LinkedIn post and you tag me, $25 Amazon gift card. I had like 6 people do it. I was, very pleased by that. So it's I encourage, every partner, if you're not taking full advantage of the resources of CNSG and AppSmart and the resources of all the suppliers that they work with, you're missing an opportunity more so than ever. I mean, it's so hard to go do in-person meetings with clients and your prospects. You have to take your game up. I mean, what are you doing on social media? What are you doing with digital marketing? Get out of your comfort zone, go into the Chamber of Commerce meeting and having coffee and donuts. That's not going to work anytime soon. So you have to really think about, what are you going to do differently? I mean, there's something we could all do different every day to take our game up. What's that for you?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Those are very great suggestions. And partners, the campaign in the box that Chris mentioned, we have the CNSG Smart campaign. You have your dedicated CNSG and AppSmart channel managers, along with, the Sierra channel management team and solutions engineering resources that'll help us, qualify and move these opportunities through the funnel, through discovery to, design and closing. And so, thank Chris. I really appreciate you joining us. And I think with that, our time has kind of come to an end, but thanks to all the partners for tuning in to this edition of ProviderSMART, and appreciate the time, Chris.
You bet. Hey, and don't forget, we have a great spiff. You need to check on the back office, up to 5X. So check that out. It just needs to be signed and sold by December 31st of this year.